contact, because then we can check in and see how things are going and see how things are moving along.
Yeah, listen, that contact with the clients is important, because also people's lives change, or they've got questions, and it's not as easy to reach out to the police department, even though I think we're excellent and very approachable. Some people don't think that's a little harder to just call them up on a random weekday. But we always like talking to people and having that contact and asking, yeah, are there any questions or anything that you have concerns about, or how's everything going? Just kind of very general ones. So just showing inside the transmitter, this is the battery, and this is the actual transmitter itself. It's about the same size as the battery. It's got the frequency on it, and all of this, changing the battery, is something that the officers trained in it that's what we perform. We change the battery out, and then we test it to make sure that it's operating correctly and as expected.
So the family members don't change that, you folks do?
Correct, yep, so the officers change it out to make sure that it's done, because we have, that's part of the training that we go to is to make sure that we follow the steps that the company kind of lays out, and look and have the things to watch out for if there is something, some sort of either manufacturer's defect, or if it's, it got damaged, then we can replace that at that point.
How often? You said, I think, once a month?
So once a month, so the batteries in here will last 60 days, the style that the BAP and Saginaw uses, and we change them out every month to have that kind of extra leeway in case somebody goes on a trip or isn't available in that 30-day time. We have a little extra up to 60 days. And this is a tester that comes with every kit. This stays with the family. The little beeping right there, the little flashing, is what lets us know that the transmitter is working correctly, and then this stays with the family, and the caregiver will log every day that they've tested it, make sure it works, and then we go from there.
Are there any issues with when you're out looking for somebody, do you get interference from other frequencies or other mechanisms that you have to have trouble with that?
So not necessarily interference. Most of what I've seen is actually, it started to do it as I was turning around. You can see if I can get to demonstrate. So I'm really close to it right here, on the edge of the table. But I bet if I turn around here, it'll start to get louder against the wall here. Even though I'm facing directly behind it, it's because it's transmitting, it's bouncing off these concrete walls. So it's that kind of redirection that can sometimes make it, take a little bit longer to narrow down exactly where it actually is compared to where the signal is bouncing off.
So somebody else's, like his, yeah, with that one?
Yeah.
Yep, so that won't interfere with it or anything. There can be two people in the same room with it on, it's because they're on different frequencies.
And so you have it all
Yep.
geared to the individual
We'll know
you're
the
looking
bracelet,
for.
right, exactly.
Yes.
The bracelet's tied to that individual. We know that individual's missing. We can then get that information
Okay.
and then put it into that device, and then that'll narrow it down.
So that's how you manage it.
Yep, and so the process is not short, but it is not very complicated to have somebody sign up for the program. I've signed somebody else up in Bath as a client, so it took a tiny bit of time, but it wasn't difficult for the family to do. Basically, this is the packet that I bring to the family. It goes through, once we explain the program, we explain, just like I've talked to you all about the devices and how it works, and the expectation that the person keeps it on all the time. So this doesn't get taken off except for battery changes. So the idea being there for that, to go into that for a second, is that if it would be taken off for people to take a shower, or if they just go to the grocery store or these short trips, then it's much more likely that somebody would forget to put it back on, and then they wouldn't have it when they need to go. So these are completely waterproof. We check for water damage every time we change the battery, and they are really a set it and then forget about it, just like what most people used to wearing a watch most of the time. Same exact concept. So
As far as the band, how does that attach? What kind of band is it?
yeah, so there's several options. The most common is one like this, and it snaps.
It does.
So it snaps like that, and then it's not meant to be easily removed, because some people will just out of habit, try to take it off like a watch, whatever every night or something like that. But if they take it off, it's much more likely they'll forget to put it back on, or they won't think that they kind of get in the habit of wearing it on a daily basis. Which that if somebody either wanders or needs extra help, or a kid, isn't used to putting it back on themselves, and they take it off, then it means that it's more likely that they're not going to have it when they need that extra help. We have other types of bands. There's a leather one right here that the officers were able to use tools and take them on and off easily. Some other fun colors. Excuse me. So there's some other colors right here, as well as just some examples of the bands being different as well. Any questions so far? Well, kind of running through a little bit quickly, sorry about that.
Can I just offer a point? You mentioned that
other devices, and that requires the individual to have the cognitive skill to press it. Where this system, the caregiver would, oh my God, my husband's missing, and then the responsibility falls on a person that with more cognitive
Yeah, and
ability. So that's why I really can't speak highly enough of this program.
Always on, right?
yeah, and then.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
So we live in Thompson, so how would you sign up? Would you have to go
Through
to
Top,
that?
through Topsom.
You just go to the police department?
Yep. Who's it in Topsom?
Ian was kind of heading there. I'm not sure who's going to take the moment. Yes, Courtney and, yep.
They have a couple officers that is assigned to manage it through Topsom, but you can still call us or Saginaw County. We can help facilitate that.
Thank you.
We have two of our own, but the original grant funded one or two devices that Saginaw County controlled, and they shared that asset with the different communities, so Topsom was originally part of that. I don't know if Topsom has their own device now, but they certainly have access to Saginaw.
So you're talking about the receivers for
The
the
receivers.
Yeah, so different departments have different amounts of the transmitters. We haven't ran out of them. There's still plenty of transmitters available in the area for whoever we can use the help and go through the sign-up process.
The transmitter.
So
You're
this
limited by the receiver.
Yes, but the receivers can be used for as many searches as we need.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking,
Yep.
it's a big state.
Oh, yeah, but like these are scattered all over, so we have two, Bath has two, Sag has at least two,
Yep.
Brunswick has two or
So we
three.
can borrow them from other places as needed. Where everybody involved in this program is more than happy to help out and either respond ourselves or let out the equipment. So, yeah.
Right now, we have, in total, for Saginaw County, 5 people signed up for this program, 2 of which are in Bath. So the other 3 are out in the neighboring communities. I don't know Topsom's numbers, but Brunswick's got 2 or 3 at
Maybe
least.
20 people here alone.
Yeah.
Benefit
So
from
if it's something that people are interested in, here's your chance to potentially sign up.
Yeah, and then so the part of the process, the kind of longest part, is talking with the family, talking with the potential client about what the expectations are of wearing it all the time and having it on to be available, as I said, if needed. And then going through basically kind of the history of, okay, what's kind of what's happening in your life and where are the places that you'd like to go or places that you don't like to go. Some people prefer that if they do wander or get lost or need that kind of help, including say, children or people with different on the spectrum, they might not respond well to officers calling that child's name. So we would know, okay, do they have a nickname they'd like to be called, or a place that they frequently go. So things like that is what we get kind of the history of, and there's a quick form to the person's primary care physician about any diagnosis, and then all that information gets entered on the confidential client portal, and only a little bit of the information, like the frequency number, gets entered in with the Saginaw dispatch or the local dispatch, which would be so that if an officer calls up and says, hey, I need that frequency number, I'm from 2 towns away, and I'm helping a search, that dispatch will be able to provide that with day or night. So it's kind of made to, all the confidential personal information is saved, except for parts like a person's picture or anything that would be needed in the portal to help find the actual individual.
Prior to this program coming on board, we had and still have what's called the Wanderers Program through our dispatch center, so that we would at least have a photograph and pertinent information for those few individuals that do tend to wander. Typically, you're thinking of those kids that have autism that wander off. That's a real good tool that we have to help. This has made it so much easier to be able to track.
How long have you been using this new?
This we've had for 3 or 4 years now.
I'm surprised you have so few people signed up for it.
Yeah, we've gone to the Senior Health Expo every year.
Yeah.
We have information on the internet. We've gone out. We've done outreach. This is going to be good, so we can help spread the word.
Yeah.
We'll still go far now is spreading kind of information about the program and explaining what it is, and just getting people to recognize that it exists, it's available in the area. And I just pulled up the Project Lifesavers that is a presence all across the U.S. and other countries. For the U.S., up to today's date, there's been 4,401 searches and saves with the program set across the U.S. So they kind of keep a tracker with that and give updates and any helpful tips. So the organization that puts us on is very responsive. It is always willing to help as well. although it's pretty self-sufficient once it gets set up. So,
You know, another
Maine
question.
Game Wardens Association?
They have, yeah.
That- So that gives me a huge piece of mind
Yes.
too, because Maine is so vast
yes.
that the game warden could be all over the state.
Yeah, and then some of our training, the transmitters that are, in the trainings, we're looking for a transmitter this size, which some of the other officers who set up the program and facilitated the training would maybe be a little bit more difficult and challenging, and throw them in trees and put them, hide them in places. It's very hard to find. It was intentional to help us get better at searching for them. But they would put them in places very far away. They'd drive 20 minutes out, from Bath to Topsom, and place them in out of different places. And then without any further information, we're just given, okay, a person, lived at this hypothetical address. They have wandered, they've been reported missing, go find them. And it was our job to, figure out, okay, are they in town? And there's a procedure for that. Are they out of town? What direction? The police, we're coordinating as a team, whoever's responding to help the search for this, for the client is coordinating as a team to say, okay, did you get a start of a signal in this area? Where's the next most likely road that they're going to be? And then we keep narrowing it down from there until we're able to locate the person. And so some of them were hidden in some pretty creative spaces. For looking for an actual person is honestly much easier, because it is a much, you're looking for a larger person, and somebody can respond to you and help with the search effort is responding that they need help. So,
You were mentioning Disneyland,
yes.
but I can even see someplace like the Countrywide Fair, whatever it is, up in- where you have 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
You
Absolutely.
take your 3 kids to the fair, they're gonna see all this stuff, you put one of those things on. So the question is, are you prepared or even interested in doing that on a temporary basis? Because at the end of the day, when they had the kids, they wouldn't need it, they could give it back.
Yeah, so it's
Is
not
that
part of the
easy?
program right now that we're involved in. These, some of the other, as I understand it, like the Disney and some of the other parks and places that they're used are kind of set up to use it in that model specifically. So it's a very, like a day or a couple day pass for it. But it's kind of just a different focus or aim that right now we're all looking at.
People have had a lot of luck with, if you have a cell phone, we can get a hold of the cell phone. We can track a cell phone as long as it's on, if we needed to in an emergency. But people have had a lot of luck with AirTags. Those little, put a keychain AirTag, and the kids have that. That's been very helpful.
And dogs or animals, they're putting these things on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Collar.
Yep.
Yeah, there's slightly different technologies compared to this, like GPS or the AirTag are all a little bit different. There's pros and cons to all of them. This one is, the major pros are that it works through buildings, it works, in a little bit of water, so if someone were to fall down near water, some of the other technologies wouldn't work in
Oh,
as
really,
well.
can you do it in a
Just a little bit of water.
couple feet of a creek or?
Yeah, or if there's water between you and the person looking for it, sometimes things other than radio waves just don't work as well, across a river, let's say. So, and I said, the big part for benefit for the Project Lifesaver is that it works in basements. It works across buildings or a large building, like some of the larger complexes down in Portland or any of the larger areas. The radio waves will pass through those walls without an issue. Where GPS or like our cell phone signals, easily lost when you walk into a concrete building. It's just a trade-off that you kind of have to deal with. And this works. It's focused on reliability in that situation. Yes.
What about if they get in a vehicle?
Mhm.
Does that reach if they haven't gone out of the area?
Yeah. So the way it works is, because this is the one transmitting, it's wherever they are. Whoever is closest will start picking up the signal, and then we have to figure out, okay, are they stationary? Is it moving? And that's part of the fun we had during the training was, okay, are they stationary? Are they in a vehicle? Are they on a bus? Anything like that. So that's part of what we look for and can help narrow down. If there's a lot in the area, there's one bus line. If it's moving and they're not suspected to be in somebody's personal vehicle, then we might call the bus company and say, and try to narrow things down in a more traditional search way for somebody who's missing or needs help.
Timing is important. The sooner we know that they're missing, the more quicker we can get out there and start a grid search.
Remember those 2 guys who drove away from Togus?
Yes.
A couple weeks
Yep.
ago?
Yeah, up north.
Okay, yeah. I guess they found them.
So the 2 ladies from Topsom a year ago.
Yes.
Do you need a formal diagnosis to sign up, or can it be someone who's like, I'm noticing that my partner is
Trust my
starting,
kid.
not a kid necessarily, but like, Your partner's starting to show memory issues, you're starting to get worried.
Yeah, so it's been explained, right now, all the clients, or all the people in the area, not just our town, but surrounding communities, most part there is a diagnosis or some conversation with the primary care physician. I haven't been a part of kind of that process. We've never had somebody turned away who wanted to be part of the program. So the barrier is very low, and we want people to be part of the program who can benefit from it. So it doesn't necessarily need like a diagnosis, but we just need enough information to know that this would be beneficial. And somebody who's agreed to basically be a part of the program as a caregiver, to do the daily checks and to basically report somebody missing, who was able to give us a good description of the person or a picture. So it's, yeah, so there's no, so I don't know anybody who's ever been turned away who wants to be part of the program, who's willing to be part of it, you know. Yes.
I'm just thinking, my husband, he's pretty resistant to things. So do you ever encounter, like if he wants to sign him off at that moment, do you have a way of working around that sometimes, to help the spouse out? Or do you just say, it's not ready yet, we'll just come back kind of thing?
Yeah, so a little bit of both. Basically, we talk to people. That's most of my job. And so we talk to them, and all we can do is explain what this is, explain how it's used and why it's beneficial. And it's usually not a surprise when somebody, has concern for a family member. We got a family member who is a fall risk and has, stability issues. So we work around that. The idea is to have people be as independent and as active as they want to be for as long as possible, and in a place where they're able to do that. And this is one tool, just one of them, but one tool to help kind of people accomplish that as safe as possible. So I've had conversations where, a couple of conversations in town where the person, the client, or potential client wasn't ready to accept this kind of help. Okay, so I'll keep it, we leave our contact information. I'll follow up in about 6 months and see if anything's changed or if they have an interest again, then that's okay too. It's all voluntary, and the biggest thing we want to make sure is that, if somebody's ready to, accept help or that this would be beneficial, then we get the resource out there as soon as it can be beneficial to them. So it's, yeah, listen, it does
I think
happen.
sometimes it's better coming from another person. Like their physician can get across, whereas
Yep.
the spouse can't.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had physicians.
You need to leave the room.
Talk man to man.
We've had physicians start talking about the program as well and kind of explain the resource. And yeah, so it's kind of however much we can get the word out there about the program, the better. And so we're always happy to have a conversation with the family and go to their house or stop by. I've done it plenty of times and said, okay, this is physically just bringing the transmitter and say this is what it would look like. It's about the size of my watch, and just the same kind of explanation that I've done today. And some people are happy to accept help, and some people said they're not ready or they don't want it. And that's okay too.
So in that case, would you recommend starting with like Lifesaver and getting him signed up and having pictures and you guys having the information, rather than starting with
The
like,
Wanderers
Wonder
program?
Wonder
You could
Program.
start with the Wanderers program
Yep.
and get into Project Lifesaver, or, we could try our best to help convince the other person that this is not only gonna help you, but gonna help your significant other. A little bit ease their, worries,
Yeah, it's hard to
Little
know
insurance.
when, because my husband, he called them walkabouts.
Yeah.
So he goes all over, we live in Topsom, so he
Yeah.
has his roots.
Mhm.
But so far, so good.
Yeah.
But this would be, I think, a nice
Yeah,
argument to say,
sure.
you can keep walking,
Yep.
because then we have this in case you do.
Yep.
He hasn't gotten lost yet that I know of, so
And the good thing with this is
gives me peace of mind.
it's on your wrist, and you could leave your phone at home, but this one's on your wrist. But the routes that he likes to walk, if we knew those routes,
Mhm.
and if he does go missing and say he doesn't have this, at least we know which routes to check.
Right,
you know?
yeah. I've kind of seen most of his routes, but not sure if he's taking some new
And
ones.
updated digital photos, as people age, updated photos is really, really helpful. Know what they're wearing for clothing that day.
Stick it in their pocket. I mean, it doesn't have to be on your wrist. If they didn't want to.
It doesn't, and we've run into that, and people have asked about, can it be something they just take off with them when they go on walks? The issue is that it really has been more of an issue that nobody knows when they're gonna need help, just like in Maine here.
We know that, but they don't know that.
Yeah. But,
There was a case though where a bracelet was left in a house and they went, and I don't know if it was in this area, but they're like, we found it, it's in the house, the bracelet's here. So where's the person? So, yeah.
Not out there.
Which is just a delay at that point of helping try to find the person, because we spent time looking for the transmitter, which we thought would be with them, but that it wasn't. Just
I had a friend in Massachusetts about 10 years ago. His wife took him to church about this time of year in this dark area, and they got separated as they went out. Found him the next morning in the parking lot next door, next building or so.
Yeah, that's why the 15 or so minutes,
It just doesn't take long at all to lose it.
No, listen, in half an hour when those searches are completed nationally is roughly around that time, I think it's like 27 minutes. And for the most part, we've seen recently that it's down to about 15 minutes. So it's pretty quick once, when they're already part of the program that the search has been initiated, that we actually find them once the Project Lifesaver equipment, the officers trained is kind of gets out there and starts looking. So it's pretty cold out today. I was sitting outside for a little bit today. I don't want to be outside for any longer than I have to be. It is, so the times of the essence in weather like this. If it's 70 degrees out and somebody took a nice long walk, that's great, but we don't have that same kind of concern for the weather being a factor. But also people, like taking long walks in Maine, which is great, but it means that they can walk very far, and we got a beautiful trail system, so that will reach in the woods. This will reach in the woods as well, which is a great benefit to kind of how it operates.
Other questions? What's more you guys at?
That's about my spiel. Unless anyone wants to kind of play around with the equipment or see about the bands.
How do you like yours? Yours is on your wrist. Do you even notice it anymore? Yeah, so it's fine, right?
No, it doesn't need into my wrist.
Good.
We showered.
Yeah,
There's no.
no issues?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're meant to be left on. They're meant really to just kind of people to forget about them because they're not very heavy. I'm simply make sure I have the transmitter. There we go. You pass this around. They're not heavy. This is the strap that's on them is very lightweight as well, and yeah, they're just meant to kind of be a consistent part of somebody's life.
Fashion statement, red or blue.
Yeah.
We got it. Some of them have stickers now. We got
Anything on it you want?
that say, if you need help, then call the Saginaw Dispatch, so that way that we can get somebody, get them basically reunited with their caregiver or whoever's looking for them that they've been with that afternoon, get them reunited as quickly as possible.
So our database is countywide. So Topsom, we can look at Topsom stuff. They can look at our stuff. We do not talk to Brunswick. Brunswick's got their own computer system, but we can always call Brunswick.
It's right across the river.
We can talk to them. We just can't get it as
This
quick.
guy said, well, I came down to Maine's first ship from Brunswick and I lost this person, you could transfer those
Yeah,
codes and
yes.
begin doing it.
Dispatch to dispatch. But it's easy for us, like say someone lives in Topsom, moves to Bath. We don't have to update a whole lot because it's the same records.
Oh, yeah, okay, see, you won yours off.
It's not going to hurt, so there's to be very resilient. Someone
You
demonstrate.
Demonstration, yeah. So this program this is an easy one that we can get. We've gotten grant money for it a couple times now. This is a really easy one to get donors to help us offset costs.
Yeah.
Right now, this is fully funded, so there's no cost to the user right now. We'd like to keep it that way. But this is
Why do you
one,
think people aren't doing it? You've got 5 in town for 5 years.
is it awareness? We're not sure. People, like maybe they have oh, I'm good because I've got an AirTag, or I'm good because they've got a cell phone. They always carry their cell phone.
You've made these presentations at
We've done every
Thornton
year.
Oaks, well, maybe not Thornton Oaks, but whoever.
We've gone
Plant
to,
House. The guys at the Plant House
yeah,
are very aware
well,
of these sorts of things.
I'm involved in our local triad, which is it's law enforcement, older adult services, and older adults working together to address issues as you age, elder abuse, stuff like that. We've talked about it in that class. We've gone to the Senior Health Expo in Brunswick every year. People Plus puts on that. We've demonstrated it there. Yeah, it's just getting that word out. Not everybody's on social media, believe it or not, right? Especially the older generation. So, like, we'll put something on. I don't know if everybody watches local cable TV, but we can put ads on there.
Oh, you can put it on our website.
We put it on any web, you can share, we have it on our website, you can share the information on our
Challenged,
website.
a lot of them are, so, yeah,
Yeah.
websites aren't gonna cut it.
You know, we had
Well,
our
the
That's
paper
what this is
today.
like.
people who need it may be, but I'm quite convinced that their children who are still 50
Well,
or.
This
and
is
that's
fair.
who we try to address it to.
They're
Yeah.
the people making the decisions.
Spread the word. It's a national organization. And they save people every day. You see the national. Ashley, what was your?
I've talked to a lot of people about this.
Yep.
And their number one concern, which is really interesting, is that they're worried that they're gonna be taken off, that it's like a fiddle risk. So I'm really interested in, you know, the bands, and I think that'll be really helpful to know that those are not super easy, they're not like Velcro, you're not just
Kind
taking
of like a
off.
hospital risk.
Yeah, it looks like a hospital thing.
And it's pretty similar in some ways to
You have
it,
to cut them.
Yeah, you need a pair of scissors to get it.
which is where we go with the
Yeah.
visits and classroom.
Great, thank you.
Anybody who wants to cut that off has got more problems than one.
Yeah, like, and some people do, like, we've had clients, in the greater area who have, you know, cut their transmitter off because they found it uncomfortable that day. That's okay, we get told by the family, and we go there and just put it back on. You know, check in, saying, okay, you know, what made this uncomfortable today as opposed to, you know, last month or last week? And sometimes it's, the band,
Yeah.
was too tight, or they thought it was too tight. So, okay, we'll put it on so it's more comfortable for you. So the point's to have it be available and to adapt to whatever people need, to be useful and be helpful.
That's right.
Yeah, it seems like there's some different options too, the leather and something.
Yeah, there's a little bit, I don't have many of these, most of the, it's, in fact, you don't want that to be a barrier for people to be part of the program and to have, you know, get this help, is that the band is uncomfortable, or they don't like the look of it.
Well, that was why I made the point about not having it necessarily strapped to you, but that you could put it in your pocket, and then the caregiver is concerned because they, in some cases, know the person is still going out.
Yep.
Okay, later on, they're maybe not. But they can say, make sure to take your, you know,
Mhm.
whatever it is. I mean, to the extent, when these things get to be a price factor for the providers, not for the family, in the 50-cent range or something like that, then when you buy 10 of them, just like you buy 10, well, there's other things in personal care that you'd like to have and use.
The whole kit, said it's something that is no cost to the families, the clients, potential clients, is around $300 or $350 in that range. With the transmitter, you know, a small selection of batteries to start for the.
So it's $350 now if you really wanted to go out and buy one, roughly.
Yes.
Is that- So it's not really cheap yet.
No, as I said, it's not that cheap, and a lot of the kind of bigger commitment is just having the batteries changed and having to check on a daily basis. That's really kind of the more important parts for, there's not really any other maintenance or anything to it. If I see, I haven't seen yet, but if I see one that is cracked, if people keep throwing it on the floor, I don't know who would do that when it's in the room, but if
Caregivers
it's water
problem.
damage, yeah, just throw it, that's fine. If this thing is damaged, or if there's a water damage inside, then we replace it at that point. But as I said, none of the cost goes on, is the family has to pay it, because that's where I put it, we don't have to do that. And we don't want to. Nobody that's part of the program wants it, there to be any barriers, as low as possible barriers for people signing up for it, so.
The other thing too, I'm in a support group, it's a Zoom, but there's quite a few people that come along, and we were talking about the other day, and I said, I know that there's gonna be some kind of program before I heard about this. So I think this one woman lives in Hallowell, but I said you should, you know, contact your police, you know, department and see what they've got before I even heard of this, so.
And if
That's it.
Howell doesn't do it, Augusta might, and they might be able to work out an agreement
Right.
with the neighboring agency.
So it's like that's a good way to spread it. I know there's other support groups around here too.
We have, this is one of several different programs, layers of security that we have. We also have the Good Morning program. I don't know if you've heard of the Good Morning program, but for those people that live alone and don't have a close family member or friend nearby, they can call the police department in the morning and say, hello, good morning, how you doing? Checking in.
Okay,
I'm okay. When they don't call, we try to call them. If they don't answer, we send an officer to the house, knock on the door, make sure they're all right. So that's a program that we've had for like almost 15, 20 years right now. A lot of other areas have that program. So that's another layer of security for loved ones that might have someone that lives next to them. I'm involved in, I don't know, X number of committees that talk about this stuff all day, all the time. Networking is great. This is like a networking thing. Putting the word out there is awesome. Spread the word. Please help spread the word for us. We have information on our website. There's social media information. Just call us too. Give email. Ashley's got my email address. If you guys need it. Also on the website, my contact information. Do you have any other questions in regards to these things that we've talked about here today? I do want to talk in general a little bit about other safety issues affecting older adults that we're seeing currently. We're seeing a lot of financial exploitation cases. Caregivers taking advantage of that person that they're caring for's finances. Be very careful with that. Please, if anything is weird, suspicious, contact us. The banks and the credit unions have training now to what they look for. They're very quick to pick up the phone and say, something's not right with, Mrs. Jones's account here. There's something shady going on. We're able to look into that. We don't see a lot of physical abuse cases coming in, which is good, but there are a lot of neglect cases where people aren't getting adequate at-home health care due to various number of reasons, and those are the people that get...
They're not living alone, they're just not getting the care.
Either they're living alone and they have a caregiver coming in and the caregiver's not doing a great job, or they have a caregiver that's completely ignoring them, and then you get people that develop those health conditions. So we do a lot of wellness checks. We do answer a lot of adult protective service referrals to try to make sure that everyone's safe. No problem. Call us, the police. Call us on the non-emergency line and just ask a question. We would love to answer your questions. Don't be afraid. I hate it. Everybody's, I don't want to bother the police. Bother us. It's our job, right? Any other questions or things that we're... Ashley, go ahead.
Can you explain the Blue Envelope program?
The
a little
Blue
bit?
Envelope program. Yes, I can. This is a program that was recently, within the last couple of years, I think it started out in California with San Diego Sheriff's Office or something, but if you have a condition that makes you a little anxious when you're getting pulled over by a police officer in a car, you can put your documents in here, and you can hand this to the officer, and the officer recognizes it, and there's information and says, okay, this person, maybe they're not on drugs and driving drunk, maybe they've got a condition where they're not able to effectively communicate with the officer. So this is just another handy thing to have in your car. If you've got any number of condition or issue, talking to the police, you can say, here you go.
And then what do the police do with that when they...
Well, then we're cued to the fact that there's something else going on.
Okay.
Maybe they're not just acting suspicious. Maybe they're not guilty of a crime.
Okay.
Maybe there's a communication issue there.
Can I have one of those?
You sure can.
Great.
We've got, most police departments have these now. Most of us recognize what it is.
I think they're useful even if you don't have coverage.
Yeah.
No,
Most people are nervous when they get pulled over, right? They get nervous. Some people, it's the fight or flight thing, and they're like...
Now, there's another situation that I've heard of, which is putting information in your refrigerator.
Yep, so
You
the
guys
fire
involved in
department,
that?
the rescue
The
unit,
fire
yeah.
department said that when they were
There's
here.
usually something that's on the fridge, and it's like a basic information, like this is what my specific medical conditions are, this is someone to call, pertinent information that rescue might need. We know to recognize that. And a lot of rescue departments and public safety departments give like these information packets or like gift bags full of good to have stuff, and that's usually included in that. So. And the Bath Fire Department and most of the fire departments here will come into your house and they'll help do a safety assessment too, and they'll give talks about how to be a little bit safer as you age. Having additional handrails. We offer.
You do that?
The fire department can,
Just
yeah.
like rugs and everything, pointing them out?
Yeah. Yes, they do stuff like that. They've done it at Bath Housing a bunch of times. Comfortably Home is a program that Bath Housing has. There's other Harpswell Aging at Home. They have to go in and do the renovations of the houses to help put the handrails and the ramps in. There's that stuff, making sure that you want to stay at home as long as you can, right? That's the key. You want to be able to live in your house as long as you're physically able. This will make those modifications that you can do that. So we like to see people enjoy their life, do it safely.
So we had Ashley Moody here last month talking about the fire department and everything that they offer. If anyone needs your information, please let me know. And next month, we have Habitat for Humanity coming to talk about their programs that help put all sorts of things, ramps, guardrails, fixing up your house, all of that helps everyone age at home.
And see, there's so many programs out there that people are just not aware of. It's all good stuff. And the biggest thing that we're seeing in a lot of these programs is the lack of volunteers. Lack of volunteers to help transportation, drive people to and from appointments. Lack of volunteers to help with some of these house renovations. So, I mean, that's the thing, they're always asking for more help. So helping spread the word and making people aware of that might drive more volunteers to the cause.
Good, thank you.
Ladies, did you have any questions that you wanted answered? I know you're just filming this, recording this.
We're just filming, I think
You're
I'm
just
okay.
filming it, no reporter stuff, no questions, okay, good. Well, we're open 24/7, 365, right? Email anytime, email me, you can call the department. I've got connections all over the state. So if you have a family member or a loved one in a couple, 3-4 towns over, if you have a question, let me know. I can help, introduce or connect people to it. I'm on the Maine Council for Elder Abuse Prevention. I'm the co-chair of that organization. I sit on the Elder Justice Coordinating Partnership. I went to Washington, D.C. in February for a national summit on elder abuse stuff. So this is a focus that all the way from the federal level down to the local levels, a lot of attention is being paid. We want to help protect and ensure the safety of our older adults, because we're all going to be older adults and are older adults.
Oh, really?
Right? So,
You know this guy?
so
You will, by the end of the day.
yeah, so I just would say, thank you for listening to us. Again, if you have questions, reach out. Thank you to Detective Santoro for this wonderful presentation. He's the technical expert on all this stuff. I kind of know how it works, but he's my technical expert. And you'll see in all of the area departments, we're all kind of on the same page here with this and trying to get it all out there. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.